Welcome to Simple GIS software tutorials. Today we're going to be talking and covering the basics of using the MapDataView document in our Simple GIS client applications. To begin, we'll launch our Simple GIS client application from its shortcut. And initially you'll be presented with an empty screen since we haven't created a project or loaded a project yet in the Simple GIS client application. You'll notice a menu along the top of the Simple GIS client application window. And in particular, on the file menu, you see we'll have a couple of options to either create a new project or open an existing project that we may have created earlier. So for our example today, we're going to create a new project. So we'll select this menu option, which then will create a new empty project window in our Simple GIS client application. The window displayed here is your main project window, which gives you access to all of the different documents that can be added to a Simple GIS client project. These different document types are shown on the tabs located along the left-hand side of the window. We have MapDataView documents, which is what we'll discuss today, table documents, map documents, modules, and these are actually VB script modules for customizing and extending the capability of Simple GIS. Then we have our menus, which is the interface we use to customize the menus, the look and the feel of your Simple GIS client project. Then we also have plugins, and this is the architecture we use to be able to share scripts and menus across several different Simple GIS projects by simply saving and loading these plugins in other projects. So for today's example, like I said, we're going to discuss MapDataView documents, which is the first tab along your left-hand side. Initially, we see we have no documents created, or they would show in a list here in this empty white space. So the first thing is to create a new MapDataView document, which we do by going to the Add New View button and clicking on this tool. This will create a new empty MapView document. And we see the title along the top left of the document window. We haven't named our project yet, so it just says unnamed project, but it gives a name of MapView 1 to our new MapDataView document. And if we close this window, we now see that this document appears under our MapDataView list. We can rename this if we would like by simply clicking on it and then clicking again and typing a new name for this document in this window. So in this example, we're just going to give it a new name. We'll call it our new MapDataView, or my first MapDataView document. And then when we hit enter, we see that it has renamed the document in our list. Now to open this document, we can simply select it and click the Open View button. And it brings our document back up, and we now see that it has in fact been renamed. We can maximize this document window to the Simple GIS client application window by simply going and clicking on the Maximize button. So as we maximize it, we now see that our window is made up of several different menu types. We have our normal pull-down menus along the top. In addition, we have a row of buttons underneath, which is called our command tool buttons, which is buttons used to execute simple commands in our MapDataView document. And then underneath this row, we have another row of buttons which we call our interface tool buttons, which is buttons that allow us to interface with a map under continuous operations. And I think this will become a little bit clearer as we move along in our tutorial. So to begin with, we want to add some data to our empty map. So we'll go to our Add Data to View button located along the top. And as we click on this tool, we are brought up with a new dialog box called our Add Layers dialog box. Within this box are several tabs that represent the different types of data that can be added to our map. The first tab in our list is for shapefiles, imagery, DXF data. This could be graphic layers, And this can be data that you've downloaded from the internet or data that you've created using Simple GIS Client or other programs. Our next tab is for data that's being served from a Simple GIS Server application. This could be a Simple GIS Server application running on another machine connected to your network, either on LAN or a wide area network, or it could be even running on a machine in the cloud that's connected to the internet. The next tab allows you to add image databases, which allows you to view multiple images as if it was a single image. Our next tab is Group Layers, which just simply allows you to organize similar layers under a common heading. Then we have Event Layers, which can be used to take tabular data that has a XY coordinate associated with it and add that data to your map, such as spreadsheet data, and we'll cover that a little bit later on. And then finally we have WMS layers, or Web Map Service layers, which is simply imagery data that is served across the internet and allows us to add that to the map. The first thing we'll cover in this tutorial is adding shapefile or imagery data. If you'll notice, there's a drop-down box on this tab that allows you to choose the drive for the folder location of your data. This is useful if you have multiple partitions on your computer or if you're connected to a file server. As you select a drive from this drop-down list, you should see the folders associated with that drive appear in the list box beneath. From here, you can navigate the folder structure for the selected drive, and as you click on a folder or double-click on it, you will see that the files contained in that folder appear to the list box on the right. The file list that is contained in this list box is governed by the filter that's set under the File Type drop-down box underneath. In this particular case, we're going to change our file types to files with a .shp or DXF or GLY extension for shapefiles, graphic layers, or DXF data. And as we select that file type, we now see that all the files with those extensions appear in this list box. So we're going to scroll down, and for our tutorial, we're going to select a shapefile that contains the state boundaries for the U.S. To add this to our map, we can either double-click the file name or select it and click the Add Layer button. And we now see that that file has been added to our table of contents. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and add some imagery data to our map as well. So to begin, we'll go to our file type drop-down list, and we're going to change our filter to all images for JPEGs, bitmaps, SID files, etc. Next, we'll simply navigate to the folder that contains the imagery of interest. So in this case, we're simply going to double-click on the file name, and this will actually add it to our table of contents as shown. Now, we can dismiss our Add Layers dialog box by simply clicking the Close Add Layers dialog box button. At this point, we see that no data has yet been rendered in our map. To render the data, we'll select a layer by simply clicking on its name in the table of contents, and as we do so, we notice that the layer is highlighted in a light shade of green. This is our active layer, and then to turn it on, we simply click on the checkbox next to the layer name. Now we see that the layer data is rendered in our map document. We'll also go ahead and turn on our imagery layer, but at this scale, it is not visible on the map. Next, we'll cover some of the navigation tools available within your MapDataView document. The first tool is the Zoom to Full Extents command button. And what this button does when clicked, it will zoom the map document to its fullest extents. The next tool is Zoom to Current Layer. And what this does is zoom to the extents of the current active layer in your view. So as you click on a layer to make it active in your table of contents, you can then go and click on this tool button, and it will zoom the map to the extents of that layer as shown. Likewise, I can go back and make our state boundaries the active layer by clicking on its name in the table of contents. And now when I click the Zoom to Current Layer, we see that it zooms to the full extents of our shape boundary file. The next command button is Zoom to select it, which will zoom the map to the selected features of the currently active layer in your table of contents. We also have a scale drop-down list that allows you to select a given scale or type in a scale for the map view. We also have a zoom in command, which when clicked will zoom the map in at specific intervals each time this tool is clicked. Likewise, the zoom out button will zoom the map out at specific intervals each time it is clicked as well. The next tool is Zoom Previous, and this tool simply zooms the map to the previous extents of the map document. We also have a Zoom to Rectangle tool that as we click this tool, it allows us to click and drag to draw a rectangle on the map, and it will zoom to the extents of that rectangle. This is an interface tool, so we don't have to go back and re-click the tool each time. We simply go and drag a new rectangle. Likewise, we have a pan interface tool that allows us to click and drag the map to pan around. In addition, if you have a mouse equipped with a mouse wheel, you can scroll the mouse up and down to zoom in and out on your map. Also, if you click and hold down and drag with your center mouse button, you can pan on your map as well. While we are here, it's important to note the order of how layers are rendered in your map. And this order is based upon the order of the layer in your table of contents. Layers at the bottom of the table of contents are rendered first, and then each subsequent layer above is rendered in its order. Therefore, layers at the bottom of the list are rendered first, and layers at the top of the list are rendered last. This can be changed at any time by simply clicking and dragging a layer to change its order in your table of contents. Also note that any new MapDataView document's default projection is set to WGS 84 geographic coordinates, which can be found displayed along the bottom of your document window. To change this, go to the View menu and select the Set View Properties option. In the View Properties dialog box, you'll want to locate the Units and Projection section, and you'll see a drop-down list for the view projection. From this list, you can select another map projection that you would like to reproject all of your map data to. In this case, for demonstration, we'll scroll down and we'll find WGS 84 UTM Zone 16 North. As we select this option, then we simply go and click Apply, and we'll see that our data will be reprojected to this new map projection. Next, we'll demonstrate the Query by Attribute command tool button as shown. This tool is useful for querying attribute data from a shapefile or other vector layer. So we make sure that our shapefile in our view is active, which it currently is, as we can see as the highlighted green shading. Next, when we click on the Query by Attribute command button, the new dialog box appeared where we can build our query expression. We see that there is a field list box which lists all of the available fields in our attribute table associated with this shapefile. In this particular case, we're going to find the name field, and we can double click this field, which will then add it to our condition clause at the top of the dialog box. We also see that there's a list box of available operators that we can use to perform a query. In this case, we're going to double click the equal sign to add it to our expression. And then we're going to click the Show Unique Values to see all of the unique values in the shapefile for this field. We could have typed a value in, or we can simply double click a value from this list box to add it to our expression as shown. Next, if you notice on our selection, we have several options. We can use this expression to query a new set of features, or to select from an existing set, add to set, or remove from set. In this case, we selected a new set, which means it's only going to select the features that match our query expression. And these features are highlighted on the map as shown. The color of the highlighted selected features is determined by the selection color set in the view properties. This can be changed by going back to our view properties and clicking on the selection color button and choosing a new color as shown. So in this case, we'll change it to yellow. And now as we click apply, we see that our selected features are now highlighted in yellow instead of red. We can go and simply change this back if we wish by going back to our Set View Properties menu, and then once again clicking the selection color button and going back and selecting red for our selection color. And now as we click apply, we see that the features are now highlighted in red. As we discussed, when we execute a query, we can select as a new set of features, or as a select from set, or add to an existing set, or remove from set. So in this case, we're going to execute another expression. So we're going to do name equals again, and this time we're going to choose Arkansas. So we want to choose where name equals Arkansas. But instead of issuing as a new selection set, we want to add to our existing selection set. So we'll click this radio button, and as we click apply, we'll see now that we still have Louisiana selected, but Arkansas has also been added to our selection set. One of the navigation tools we discussed earlier was the Zoom to Selected command button. And now that we have selected features from our state boundary, we can demonstrate this button, making sure that the state boundaries layer is active, which it currently is, as shown by the green shading. And now when we click on the Zoom to Selected command button, the map will be zoomed just to the extent of the selected features. We can clear the selection set of a layer at any time by using the Clear Selected Features command button. When clicked, this button will clear the selected features of the active layer in our table of contents. In addition, we have a Select Features tool button that allows us to draw a rectangle on our map, and this tool button will actually select the features of the active layer who intersect the rectangle drawn on our map, as shown here. Another useful tool is the View Feature Data tool that allows us to view attribute data for the active layer in our table of contents. And if we simply select this tool and click on the map on a feature, we'll see a dialog appear with the attribute data. There are also several drawing function tools that allows us to add graphics to our map. So we can draw points as shown. We could draw polygons. And as we click to add points to the polygon, we'll see a rubber band effect, and we'll simply double click to complete the polygon. The symbology assigned to the symbols are all based upon the default symbols set in the view property. So as new graphics are drawn, they'll be assigned these symbols by default. We can edit any of these by going to our Select Graphics tool, and as the graphic is selected, we see the selection handles around it. And we can click and drag a graphic to move it. We can grab a handle and stretch it to resize it. We can also click in the center to rotate the graphic as well. Also, by using our Select Graphics tool, we can make sure that we have just the one graphic selected by drawing a rectangle around it. And as we double click on it, we'll see the Graphic Properties dialog box appear. At this point, we could change its symbol by simply double clicking on it and then choosing a new symbol from the palette. And as we do so, then we'll click OK, and then finally click Apply, and we now see that we've assigned a new symbol to our graphic. The final feature we'll demonstrate in this tutorial is setting layer properties in our table of contents. To do this, you simply double-click a layer name in the table of contents to bring up its layer properties dialog box. This Properties dialog box will vary depending upon the type of layer that you're setting properties for. However, the one thing that all layers have in common is a minimum scale and maximum scale property. And this property just helps govern when a layer is visible within your map and can be useful to control the visibility of layers. As an example, on our imagery, if I set the maximum visibility to 5 million, and we see that the current visibility of our map is at 5631838, as we click apply, we see that our imagery is no longer visible, and it's also indicated in our table of contents by the grayed out checkbox next to the layer name. However, as we zoom in, once we get in closer to the 1 to 5 million, we see that our imagery is now visible, as indicated now by the checkbox next to the layer name. This concludes our tutorial covering the basics of using the MapDataView document in our simple GIS client application. Look for future tutorials covering some of the more advanced topics of using the MapDataView document.